The research shuttle glided down through the copper sky of Orbax DR. Daniel Ward peered out of the window. The planet was covered in red sands and jagged rocks. He felt a burst of excitement. This world had drawn legends for centuries. Many spoke of a great beast that lived in its canyons. They said no one could earn its trust. Daniel had led many teams before. He believed every creature could be studied and known. He wore a light suit that kept him cool. Behind him, the shuttle's engines roared as they slowed to a hover. The small team gathered their gear. Among them was Zoe Hill. She was Daniel's assistant. Zoe was calm and careful. She checked the containers of samples and cameras. At the rear walked Ava Myers. She had lived on Orbax for 2 seasons. Her brown hair fluttered in the breeze. Ava warned the team about the beast. She had seen signs of its power. She said it attacked any living thing. Daniel stepped onto the red sand. It felt soft under his boots. He drew a breath and smiled at Zoe. "We are here," he said. Zoe smiled back. "This is the moment we have been waiting for." Ava folded her arms. She studied the distant cliffs. "The beast is close," she said. "We must stay on guard." The team set up their base near a cluster of rock formations. They unpacked crates of tools. They installed sensors around the camp. Nets of shade cloth kept the midday sun from burning their tents. Daniel watched as Zoe adjusted a camera on a tall tripod. The quiet hum of the machines mixed with the wind. When the camp was ready, the trio climbed the ridge to scout the area. The rocks fell away into a wide canyon. The walls were steep. Layers of stone glowed in the sun. Ava pointed to the shadows. "That is where the trail ends. The beast hides in those crevices." Daniel nodded. He placed his hand on the rock. It was warm and rough. He studied the patterns of erosion. He thought about the stories. They said the beast could crush bone with its jaws. They said it had glowing eyes like fire. As they walked back to the camp, Zoe paused. She bent to study footprints in the sand, small and soft. "Too small for the beast," Ava joined her. "What do you see?" she asked. Zoe stood and pointed. "These prints are new. They lead toward the dunes." Daniel frowned. "Prints of what?" Zoe traced the shape with her finger. "A human child." Ava's eyes widened. "A child? This place is not safe for one so small." Daniel glanced at the sky. The sun had moved toward the horizon. "We cannot leave the child alone." "We must find them." Ava shook her head. "The beast hunts at dusk. It will kill anything it finds." Zoe placed her hand on Ava's arm. "We can't just walk away." "Someone may be in trouble?" Daniel drew in a steady breath. He felt the weight of choice. "All right, we search. But we stay close to the camp. We use the scanners and light?" "Packs." They hurried back and gathered their equipment. Zoe switched on a small drone. It rose above the dunes and sent back grainy images. She scanned the feed. "There," she said quietly. "I see movement by that rock." Daniel tapped the screen. He zoomed in. A small figure crouched behind a stone. The drone light flickered across the child's pale face. Her hair was tangled. Her clothes were torn. Ava swallowed. "Poor thing." She moved forward. Daniel raised a hand. "Let Zoe guide us. She has the map." They approached in single file. The wind blew rings of red dust around their boots. The child shivered. Ava knelt and spoke in a soft voice. "Hello, I am Ava." "We are here to help." The child stood slowly. Her eyes were wide and bright. Her skin was dusty. She looked at Daniel. "Thank you," she said. Her voice small. Zoe took out a water pack and offered a sip. The child drank carefully. Her hands shook. Daniel watched as she paused. "What are you doing here?" he asked. The child looked away. Dust stuck to her. Tears. "I don't remember. I woke up and the ground was hard. I was alone." Ava put a gentle hand on the child's shoulder. "You are safe now." Daniel stepped closer. He smiled. "We will take you back to camp." The child nodded. She walked between Zoe and Ava. Daniel watched her small frame. He felt a strange hope. They had come to study a beast? Instead they found a child. They returned to camp as the sky darkened. Red stripes of light traced the clouds. The team welcomed the child. They named her Mia. Zoe checked her vitals. Ava wrapped her in a warm blanket. Daniel stood at the edge of the light. He watched the cliffs. He thought of the beast. Would it come? The planet was its home. It might see the child now. The camp fell silent. The team waited. Mia curled into Zoe's lap. She breathed softly. Daniel felt the wind brush his face. He whispered a vow. He would protect this child. Whatever came next, he would stand strong. In the dim glow of the lanterns, the desert world felt alive. Hidden in the shadows, the alien beast watched them all. It looked at the child with curious eyes. It studied the human shapes in the light. The moment held its breath. Night had come. And with it, the stranger in the dark began to move. The first hour of night passed in quiet watchfulness. Daniel sat by the lantern, studying the child Mia as she slept in a cot. Zoe adjusted her sensors. Ava paced near the edge of camp. The wind whispered across the red sands. Suddenly, a sharp cry broke the silence. Zoe pointed to the sensor console. Close to camp. Something moved. Daniel sprang up. He picked up a flashlight and motioned to Ava. Follow me. They crept toward the shadows. The dunes shifted like waves under the starlight. Danger felt close. Zoe stayed behind with Mia. She held a small lamp. Mia stirred and opened her eyes. She looked at the machines. She touched a blinking light. Zoe smiled. Just hang tight, she whispered. Out in the dunes, Daniel and Ava reached a rock outcrop. The ground was disturbed. Deep claw marks led toward their camp. Ava knelt to inspect. The beast left these. It came thinking we were asleep. She sounded calm, but her voice trembled. Daniel shone his flashlight along the trail. We need to draw it away from the child, he thought fast. Io will lead it. You two get Mia to the shuttle, then you follow. Ava hesitated. Will you be safe? Daniel gave a firm nod. The beast trusts no one. I must prove otherwise. He placed a hand on her shoulder, yet Ava would not leave him behind. She met his eyes. All three of us, then. We cannot risk anything. Daniel looked to the east. The high rocks offered shelter. Go to the shuttle. Use the heat beacon to guide us. He smiled. We will meet. Together they retraced the scratch marks. The beams of their lights danced over the sand. Back at camp, Zoe lifted Mia carefully. She wrapped the child in a blanket. Her small face pressed against Zoe's chest. Zoe carried her toward the shuttle. Inside, Ava spelled out the plan. We start the engines. We keep the beacon low. When we see the lights, we blink. Daniel listened over the radio. Are you safe? Ava's voice crackled. We are inside, starting engines now. The shuttle rumbled. Red lights pulsed. Zoe set the beacon to blink slowly. Outside, the beast emerged. Its massive shape loomed against the dunes. Its eyes glowed yellow. It smelled the air. It smelled the humans. Daniel stepped into the open. He held a torch high. In the moonlight. He looked small before the giant creature. His heart thundered. The beast snarled. Its fangs gleamed. It advanced on Daniel. Daniel raised the torch. Is that your trust? He called softly. The beast froze. It sniffed the torch. Then it charged. Daniel stood firm. He did not flee. He held the light steady. The beast sniffed again, circled him. Behind him, the beacon blinked. The light danced across the beast's armored hide. The creature roared and leaped toward the shuttle. Zoe opened the ramp. We move now, she yelled. Daniel whirled. He waved at the beast. It halted mid-stride. The light from the shuttle bathed its body in red. Silence fell. The beast lowered its head. It studied the humans on the ramp. It smelled the air. Then it stepped back. Daniel exhaled. He motioned to Ava. Off it goes. The shuttle lifted slowly. Its engines hummed. The heat beacon blinked faster. The beast watched their ascent. It stayed on the sand. Inside, Zoe held Mia close. Ava checked the flight instruments. Daniel stood at the window. He watched the planet's surface recede. The beast did not attack, Zoe said in awe. Daniel nodded. It did not trust, but it did not harm us. A silent hope filled his chest. He patted the metal wall. We have its curiosity. Mia peered through the window. She whispered, "Thank you." Daniel knelt beside her. "You are safe now." Outside, the beast turned toward the desert. It padded into the dunes. Its form melted into the shadowy rocks. Behind it, a distant howl echoed. Zoe tucked her hair behind her ear. "We must learn from it." Ava agreed. It showed mercy. Daniel reached out and touched Mia's hand. "Tonight we learned trust can start with one gesture." The shuttle glided away into the copper sky. Below, Orbax slid by in silent beauty. The beast's shape lingered in the rocky canyon. Daniel whispered into the quiet cabin. Part 2 ends, but the real journey begins. The next morning, the shuttle touched down on level ground. The red sands glimmered under the rising sun. Daniel helped Mia out of the cabin. She rubbed her eyes and blinked against the light. Zoe and Ava carried the gear for the day's study. Daniel set up a small tent of canvas. He laid out maps and notebooks on a folding table. "Today we tracked the beast's path," he said softly to the team. Zoe placed sensors in a line across the sand. Each had a camera and a motion detector. She checked the battery in her hand. "We should get reading soon," she said. Ava watched Mia, who crouched beside a rock. The child collected small pebbles. She brushed red dust off each one and placed it in a pouch. Ava knelt beside her. "You find anything special?" she asked kindly. Mia held up a smooth stone. "I think the beast likes these," she said. She smiled shyly. Ava took the rock. It was warm. She turned it over. "You are right. It has scratches. It has been bitten." She showed the team. Daniel studied the stone. "This could be a mark of its territory. Good find." He gently placed the rock in a container. Zoe tapped her console. Tracker 1 shows movement 40 meters to the east. Daniel nodded. "Lead the way." Together they walked across the dunes. The ground sloped toward a dry riverbed. Layers of cracked mud formed a path. At the riverbed edge, Zoe paused. "Look at these prints," she pointed. The tracks were deep and wide. They looked like claws had dug into the mud. Ava knelt and pressed her hand near the print. "It weighs heavy." "The beast is large." Daniel ran a finger along the print's edge. "The foot curves this way. I think it walks on." The outer edge of its paws. Mia crept forward. She peered at the tracks. "Can I touch?" Daniel looked at her. "Careful." She knelt and laid her palm beside the print. Her small hand fit inside the shape. She looked up at the beast's foot size. She closed her eyes. She whispered, "Hello." Zoe and Ava watched. Daniel studied the sensors. The beast heard her. "It will come this way." Mia stood and brushed sand from her knees. She looked at Daniel with brave eyes. Daniel squeezed her shoulder. "This is good. We learn its path. Let's stay close." They moved down the riverbed. The canyon walls rose like towers. Birds of prey circled above. The wind sighed through the rocks. Zoe checked the tracker on her handheld. "Signal is strong, 30 meters ahead." Daniel nodded. He drew his breath and walked on. Around a bend, they saw the beast. It lay on a flat stone, its massive head resting on its paws. Its scales were deep green and silver. Its eyes were closed. The team froze. Mia took a small step. She held up the rock she found. She walked toward the beast. Ava grabbed her arm. "No," but Daniel shook his head. "Let her go," he whispered. "The beast began to trust her yesterday." Mia moved slowly. The beast shifted its head and opened one eye. It watched her. She held out the rock. Her fingers trembled. For a long moment, the beast did nothing. Then it sniffed. It rose on its paws. Its body towered over them. Its breath was hot and earthy. Mia bent down. "I bring you gift." She held the rock out on both hands. The beast reached forward. It took the rock gently between its claws. It studied the scratches. Zoe held her breath. Ava held Mia's other hand. Daniel stepped forward. "Calm," he said quietly. "The beast honors her gift." The creature turned its head and pressed the rock against Mia's hand. She felt the cold stone against her palm. Suddenly, the beast lowered its head. It bumped Mia gently with its snout. She giggled and reached up to pat its muzzle. Ava smiled. It trusts her. Daniel knelt beside Mia. Come, we document this. He pulled out a camera and snapped photos. The beast watched as its image flashed on the screen. It made a low rumble sound. It stepped back and sat. Zoe checked her sensor. Motion logged. I record this sequence. She spoke into her console. Note, trust gesture by human child. The child and the beast sat together. The sun climbed higher, warming the canyon floor. Birds called in the sky. Mia stroked the beast's scales. She looked at its glowing eyes. I thank you, she said softly. The beast blinked. Then it rose and circled behind them. It nudged a pile of stones. The stones formed a path toward a narrow gap in the canyon. Ava looked at Daniel. Look, Daniel saw the gap. It led deeper into the rock formations. He smiled. This is its hidden trail. Zoe recorded the direction. Sensors placed for next study. Mia turned to the beast. She touched its side. I follow you. Daniel laid a hand on her shoulder. Not today. The beast dipped its head and padded toward the gap. It paused and looked back. Zoe whispered to Daniel. It invites exploration. Daniel nodded. This is our moment to learn. But we must prepare. He tapped his watch. Later today, we return with better gear. The beast vanished into the gap. The team watched the rock settle behind it. Mia sighed. She hugged Ava. I want to see its home. Daniel smiled. We will. The canyon fell silent. Only the wind moved the sand. The team climbed back to the camp. They carried the data cards and samples. Zoe checked each one. Ava looked at Mia. There is so much more to learn, she said gently. Mia nodded. The beast is my friend. Daniel watched. The red sun. In part 3, we found its trust. Next, we discover its world. Day fell over the canyon as the team prepared for the night journey. Daniel laid out gear on the table. He checked flashlights, sensors, and spare batteries. Zoe organized the data cards. Ava packed rations and water. Mia watched with excitement. Daniel pointed at the narrow gap in the rocks. That is our path to the beast's lair. We move carefully. Ava fastened her pack. We follow the trail. We stay together. Zoe clipped a sensor to her belt. I will track its movements, she smiled at Mia. Light is low here. Stay close. Mia nodded. She held a small beam lamp. She wore a soft suit to keep warm. She felt brave beside the adults. They entered. The gap, the walls pressed close. Their lights cut through the darkness. Echoes followed each step. Ava led the way. Her boots crunched broken stones. She watched the walls for signs. Tonight, they sought the beast's home. Zoe paused. Signal here, she pointed to the scanner. We are near. Daniel shone his light up. The gap opened into a wide cavern. Glowing crystals sprouted from the walls. Their pale light shimmered like stars. Mia gasped. It's beautiful. She stepped forward. Ava held her hand. Stay with us. Inside the cavern, a shallow pool of water reflected the glow. The air smelled fresh and damp. Roots hung from cracks above. Daniel knelt by the pool. He scooped water into a vial. Clean water. This means life here. A bird's distant cry echoed through the stone. Zoe set a sensor by the pool. This will measure temperature and sound. Daniel looked at the crystals. This place is an oasis. Mia wandered to a cluster of rocks. She ran her fingers over. Carvings, they looked like symbols. Look, she called softly. Daniel and Ava joined her. The symbols showed shapes of the beast and other creatures. Ava studied them. The beast may share this place with others. She pressed her hand on a symbol. It felt smooth. Zoe checked her recorder. Note, possible ancient shelter for beast. Daniel drew a breath. These carvings may be from a lost people. He snapped photos. A low rumble shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling. The pool rippled. Mia froze. Zoe gripped her arm. Daniel raised his light. From the shadows, the beast emerged. Its scales glowed in the crystal light. It moved slowly as if greeting them. Ava whispered. It welcomed us. Daniel smiled at the creature. Thank you, he said gently. The beast circled the cavern. It paused near Mia. It nudged her hand, guiding her toward a rock shelf. Mia stepped forward. She placed her lamp on the shelf. She watched as the beast tapped the lamp with its claw. Zoe recorded. Behavior, sharing resting place. Daniel knelt beside the pool. He traced the carvings. This place is its home. It wants us to see. The beast turned and lay on a smooth stone. It watched them with calm eyes. Ava knelt beside Mia. The beast invites us to rest a while. Daniel sat cross-legged on the ground. We learn its ways. They closed their eyes. The air was quiet and safe. Minutes passed. Then the beast lowered its head and exhaled slowly. Its breath warmed the cavern. Zoe whispered, "This is trust." Daniel nodded. In part 4, we entered its world. Outside, the red sky darkened. The wind whispered across the dunes. Inside, the team felt a bond with the creature. When they rose, the beast followed them to the pool. It drank water and looked at each of them. Mia giggled. She splashed water at the beast. It rumbled and shook its head, sending droplets flying. Ava laughed. Zoe smiled. Daniel lifted his vial. We bring samples back, but we honor this place. A soft howl answered him from the canyon. They stepped back into the gap. The beast watched them leave. As they walked, each felt the weight of discovery. They had crossed worlds. At camp, Zoe downloaded the data. Ava cleaned the equipment. Daniel held Mia. She yawned. The beast is my friend, she whispered. Daniel kissed her forehead. Over time we will learn more. The desert night closed. Around the camp, stars shone above. Daniel gazed at the horizon. In part 5, we share this world with the beast. As dawn broke, the team prepared for a full day in the desert. Daniel checked the map. He pointed to the hidden gap. We go back to the cavern today, he told everyone. Zoe packed extra sensors and data packs. Ava gathered ropes and climbing gear. Mia brought her pouch of pebbles. She smiled at the group. Let's move, Daniel said. They climbed the ridge and found the gap. Sunlight lit the entrance. Dust swirled around their boots. Inside, the crystals glowed faintly. The pool shone like a mirror. Daniel placed markers along the walls. We map each corridor, he said. Zoe fixed sensors near the carvings. I record sound and movement here. She tapped her console. Ava checked her rope. Some paths are steep. I guide you. She pointed to a narrow ledge above. Mia held Daniel's hand. I want to show you something, she said softly. She led them to a side tunnel. The walls were smooth and cool. She held her lamp high. At the end, a cluster of pale stones shone. Small tracks led around them. The beast may rest here, Zoe whispered. Daniel knelt and scooped a handful of sand. He let it run through his fingers. This place feels safe. Ava shone her light on the stones. They look like eggs, she said. Mia touched one. They are not hot? She frowned. Daniel studied the stones. They were round and smooth. Maybe seed pods? We collect one sample. Zoe set a container and carefully placed one stone inside. Sample secure, she said. They moved deeper. The tunnel opened into a larger cavern. Stalactites hung from the ceiling. The air was damp. From the shadows, the beast appeared. It stood tall and calm. Its eyes glowed softly. Mia dropped behind Daniel. Ava moved beside her. Zoe raised her. Sensor. Daniel smiled at the beast. Thank you for letting us explore. He spoke clearly. The creature watched them. Then it rumbled and turned toward a dark corner. It padded away. Daniel followed slowly. The team stepped carefully over rocks. The beast led them to a wall of carvings. This time, the symbols were larger. They told a story of creatures and humans meeting long ago. Ava traced the images with her finger. This shows peace, she said. Mia looked at the drawings. I think they lived together. Daniel nodded. This world had people before. They respected the beast, Zoe recorded notes. Possible ancient alliance. She tapped the console. The beast pressed its head against the wall. It nudged the carvings gently. Daniel whispered, it remembers. Ava sighed. We unlock history. Here, suddenly the ground trembled, a distant rumble echoed. The crystals shook. Zoe checked her sensor. Sandstorm in the desert, it will reach us. Daniel looked at the pool. Shadows twisted across the water. We must leave, he said. Return to camp now. The beast blocked the path. It stood firm, its eyes held determination. Daniel stepped forward. We go together. He held out his hand. The creature lowered its head. It whimpered softly. Mia placed her hand on its neck. Help us, she said. The beast turned and led them through a narrow tunnel. Rocks formed a natural shield. The wind's roar faded behind them. They emerged at the canyon's mouth. The storm raged outside. Sand whipped around the gap. Ava motioned toward the ridge. This way, quickly. They climbed uphill. The wind pushed against them. Zoe held Mia close. The shuttle sat at the top. Its engines idled. The ramp lowered. Daniel reached the shuttle first. He shouted over the wind, "All aboard!" Inside, Zoe helped Mia climb in. Ava closed the ramp just as a blast of sand hit it. The shuttle lifted off. Dust swirled below. Through the window they saw the beast watching. It stood on the ridge, its shape blurred in the sandstorm. Its roar answered the wind. Daniel turned off the engines. He exhaled. It saved us. Zoe hugged Mia. We owe it our lives, Ava nodded. We protect its home in return. Daniel looked at the flight screen. We have proof of its world, but our duty is to keep its secret safe. Mia closed her eyes and leaned back. I will never forget my friend. The shuttle rose above the storm. The desert stretched below. In Part 5, they discovered ancient bonds and found an ally in the beast. The journey continued under a copper sky. The shuttle descended toward the research camp as dawn's light broke across the sky. Daniel felt his heart race. Today they would leave Orbax. He looked at Zoe and Ava. Each wore a quiet smile. They had learned much, but the greatest lesson lay ahead. The ramp lowered. Zoe helped Mia down first. The child blinked against the sun. Ava carried their gear. Daniel stepped last, holding a container with samples and data drives. Mia hugged Daniel around the knees. Will we come back? She asked softly. Daniel knelt and held her face in his hands. We promise to protect you and your friend, and we will return, Mia. Mia smiled and ran to the tents. The team gathered near the shuttle, checking equipment. The sensors around camp hummed quietly. Daniel exhaled and straightened. Let us finish our study. We need one final test of trust. Ava nodded. We gather more data in the canyon. Then, we leave behind protections for the beast. Zoe tapped her handheld. The motion sensors in the hidden gaps still pick up movement. We can map its daily path. She looked at the canyon entrance. Daniel checked his watch. We have until midday, then we depart. He led the way. They walked in single file toward the rocky ridges. Micah's pouch bounced at Mia's side. The child skipped ahead to the narrow gap. She peered inside. Look, she said. The crystals glow in the dark. She reached in and pointed. Ava squeezed Mia's hand. They entered the gap. Dust motes floated in shafts of light. The team placed sensors on the walls. Each blinked in silence. Daniel knelt and pressed a button, recording position and time. Zoe strapped a small camera to a ledge. This will capture the beast's face when it walks by. She grinned with excitement. Ava used chalk to mark a circle on the ground. Inside it, she wrote coordinates. This is where we sample the soil. Mia watched each move. She held the pouch of stones close. Daniel looked back at her. Do you want to place the final sensor? Mia nodded. He handed her a small device. She climbed onto a rock and placed it high on the wall. It snapped into place and lit a green light. Zoe whispered, Good work. The team backed away slowly. They waited in hush. Minutes passed. The air felt heavy. Then a deep rumble echoed through the gap. A shape emerged. The beast padded into view. Its scales caught the light from Mia's sensor. It moved with silent power. Mia stepped forward, clutching her pouch. The beast stopped. Its glowing eyes focused on her small form. Daniel held his breath. He watched the bond they had built. The beast lowered its head, pressing its nose to Mia's hand. She opened her pouch and held out a stone. For a moment, the world was still. Then the beast tapped the stone and dropped it at Mia's feet. In response, it gathered several stones from the floor and gently placed them in her pouch. Zoe quickly recorded the data. Gift exchange confirmed, Ava smiled through tears. It trusts her completely. Daniel whispered, trust is stronger than fear. The beast circled the team and sniffed each person. It paused at Daniel and turned its head. It looked into Daniel's eyes. Then it nudged Daniel's hand, guiding him toward the rock wall. Daniel knelt and pressed his palm on the stone. He felt the cool surface beneath his skin. He nodded to the beast and pressed a small box against the wall. Inside was a beacon set to flash an SOS code if tampered with. As Daniel sealed the box, Zoe placed a sign carved into metal. It read caution, protected area, fierce, leave stones as gift. Her simple words carried respect. Ava knelt to cover the sign with sand. It will hide until needed. Daniel stood and faced the beast. He raised his voice softly. We are your friends. We will not disturb you. We leave these sensors so others will respect your home. The beast roared softly. It shook its head and padded toward the riverbed. It looked back once more before disappearing into the shadows. The team watched until it vanished. Then they exhaled in relief and joy. Mia ran to Daniel and hugged him. I love my friend, she said. Daniel hugged her tightly. And your friend loves you, Zoe laughed. We have proof of its world and its trust. Ava placed a hand on her heart. We keep our promise. They made their way back to camp, carrying data and samples. The air felt lighter, as if the canyon itself sighed. At the camp, the shuttle waited. Daniel uploaded the data drives to a secure database. Zoe packed the last sensors. Ava stowed the carved sign and beacon into a locked case. Mia ran around the perimeter, gathering small pebbles as souvenirs. She whispered her secrets to each one before placing them in her pouch. Daniel approached her. Thank you for guiding. Yes, Mia looked up. I guided you to my friend. Daniel knelt and pushed back a lock of hair. You are the bravest explorer I know. The shuttle's engines rumbled. Daniel climbed aboard and helped Zoe and Ava into their seats. Mia followed, clutching her pouch. The ramp closed. The shuttle lifted off gently. They watched the camp shrink below. The sensors blinked tiny lights in the red dust. Daniel sat by the window, holding Mia's hand. He saw the canyon walls and the gap. Then the crystal's glow faded into the rising sun. Zoe turned from her console. Data complete, all recordings saved. She smiled. Ava whispered, We have kept our promise. Daniel nodded. We saved a friend and its home. Outside the window, the world of Orbax slid by. Red sands, jagged rocks, and empty plains stretched to the horizon. Inside, the team felt a sense of peace. They had bridged two worlds. They had learned a lesson of trust and respect. The shuttle soared into the copper sky. Its path led home. In the distance, the alien beast watched from a ridge. Its form was still. Its eyes glowed with a soft light. It knew friends would return. Daniel turned to Mia. She pointed at the window. My friend says goodbye. Daniel smiled. Goodbye for now. We will come back. Zoe and Ava joined them. They stood together in silent promise. The shuttle flew on, carrying hope between worlds, and so ends Part 6, where trust became a lasting bond and a promise sealed by stones in the desert's heart.